for clients that came in at 6.6, what do you think is the best option for them? Can you just rehash the different options we have available? Because they're still not clear on that. For people that came in at 6.6, what are the options available to them now? And as management, what do you think? Some people are not business savvy. They have to rely on their realtors. And I have personally told all my clients that I refuse to make that decision for anybody. So as management, what do you think is the best decision that can happen to any of those?
I would say as Judy can do. I will not as management. I would say as Judy can do. The best for anybody is to take up the decision of the expansion. I'm saying it because I've said it because of
take up expansion at an additional 2.5 million.
Yes. Reason is this. If I was to do a draft, if somebody is mathematical, you find out that it's going to be much more economical. You gain more economically as an investor when you have that expansion. I've also talked about this. The value of the 6.6 will get to a particular point where it's not going to appreciate further. And I'm not certain that in the next 5 years I'm probably going to that one that you're talking about may appreciate more than 10 million naira. I'm not sure, but I'm certain that the value of the bigger one will keep on appreciating over time. Now, because of tenants are the ones, anybody who attend any tenants are the one who decide whether a property is usable, not even the owner. So if, for example, I put up a property out for rent, it is how good or how convenient the property is for me that will determine whether I will retain or the property will become vacant over time. There are certain kind of property that over time will never be out, will not be out in the market for more than 2 months. So like this one will always be. Now if, for example, I come to maybe Fairfield apartment and I see the one that is the original design, and you're showing me the other one that is the new expanded design, and the value that they're going to command the rent, which one will any one of us want to easily pick? We'll go for that other one. And also number 2 is also that even now as we speak, majority of the apartment or the people choosing now are choosing the expanded apartment. That means we'll have more of that compared to the lesser one. So you may have a situation where even in terms of maybe maintenance issue and all of that, you will have more issues with the smaller one compared to the bigger one. So economically, for me, that expanded one will be the best. And it's also one of the major decisions that we have that made us go back again to say, okay, let us do that expansion. Just imagine that, okay, we have it maybe on one side, the smaller apartment, we have it on one side, and the other one we have it on the other side. You will have a situation whereby they will not command the same value at whatever time, at whatever rate. No time will they command the same value. So for anybody who wants to, maybe he wants to buy and say, I'm going to use it personally, no problem. But the issue might now be that are you sure that over time you are going to be living in that apartment for the rest of your life? And also because of the fact that because it's an apartment, there's really much to how creative you can be when the space are limited compared to when the space are much. So you really cannot really affect so much, because if you want to do renovation and work and all of that, it is within that same small space that you can do that renovation work. So that's my own advice.
That's fantastic. I like that.
Clarification of something for total package, that is the cost of the apartments, infrastructure. Apart from, I think the contract of sale says, the contract of sale says that the client will pay for power, connectivity, and whatever. But for my clients that are purchasing an allocation, it says that they have to pay for infrastructure. It says one-time infrastructure, which there's not understanding from the beginning. And not even that was not even the understanding of the class at the beginning. I know that eventually that was a come up, so I'd like to know.
Okay, when we set up the apartment, what we wanted to have was, like, for example, one thing I wanted to do. Can you hear me at the back? What we wanted to do before now was that we'll have a central water system where everybody will just have a situation whereby water will be drawn to everybody, to be drawn directly from the central system. But what we have now decided to do if you notice that we now have water tanks for every not every block, for every apartment, so that even though we have the central platform, we also still have one that is dedicated to you, because there might also be a time where there is the off and there might be the on, so that just imagine someone is in the bedroom all of a sudden that there's no water. So we don't want a situation, because it could happen. And so we decided that, okay, let us improve on the infrastructure, on the project, on the infrastructure, on the development. Then also in terms of what we also intended to do before now was also to do the interlocking road. But what we decided to do was that if we maintain it, in truth, everybody around us, they do interlocking. But interlocking is never ever good for a ground that is Fairfield. Never ever good. If you've ever been to, maybe if you've driven into VDC for example, you find out that your tire, if you consistently drive over time, you have a tire issue. Majorly because of the fact that you're driving, there's this hollow noise that you always have. Because as long as the ground is Fairfield and you are using interlocking stone, there's a likely for you to have continuous repair on your car, and also it is also not good for your vehicle. Number two is also that the repairs that you'll be having consistently on the road will be continuous. But we also didn't want to have a situation whereby we continuously have to maintain and maintain, because the cost of maintenance keeps on increasing. So what we decided to do was let us create something that will last long, and that's why we decided for the main road, for the two main roads, both for Eastland and Fairfield, we should adopt the concretized road network, so that at the end of the day we don't have, maybe the next 20 years or so, we don't have to maintain. And even if you are going to maintain, what do? You just, that's the part that you just do the casting again, patch it, and you are okay with it. That's one of, because we improved on the infrastructure. That is one of the major reasons. That's one of the reason why we have that's the clause. But what we have now decided to do, that it's not going to be, instead of us now commanding and say, okay, you are going to pay for services immediately when you move into your apartment. You're not going to pay services for a particular period. Because the other thing that we're also bringing into play is also to run services that at the end of the day that we can use again and again. Now, like we also know that as of today, the national grid has collapsed. So now, what are the options? Now, because of the fact that the Fairfield apartment will not originally create plan for anybody to use their own personal generator, because where do you want to have the generator? Is there space for you to have the generator? So one of the things we have decided, one of the things we also got was that we initially got a dedicated plant, a dedicated line to come down to the site. But even as of today, now as I speak to you now, the national grid has collapsed. So the option of, okay, what exactly can we now add, so that at the end of the day, we can enjoy minimum, if not for anything, we can enjoy at least for the duration where we are going to always be available, there will be electricity. So what we did was we upscaled on that same infrastructure too. So that's where we currently are that's why we have that adjustment.
How much is it going to be?
What we're going to do is that we're going to have a town hall, just like we have a town hall with realtors. We're now going to have a town hall with all property with all subscribers to determine all of that. Now it is not going to be based on what exactly everybody wants, because it's not just going to be, I can't say because it is our thing and not force it down anybody's throat. If people say, oh, this is what we want at the end of the day and we don't want this, then we can always make that adjustment over time. So that's why we have to create it. That's why we have to create it, so that it will not be as if it was not there or was not even communicated initially.
Yes. You generally made mention of Code C, saying that people we are having there presently are people who are paying now. So my question, we have clients that are subscribed to my son. Yes, and his plan is that, because every day he keeps on asking me that when it's going to go see.
No, see, on your message, because even on as we speak now, we are not sending any message. So those people who have message, they are this particular platform. So we are not sending any message. Now that we're even doing, we are not currently even selling the penthouse now. So those people that we still have as penthouse, we're still going to be accommodating them there. So the reason why we have that is why we have for the Cut B, Because we have majority of those people who bought between 6.6 and 10.5 million are between Court A and Court B. So that one will have been able to accommodate a whole lot of them with that. So for the Court C, the adjusted ones, where you have the masonite and all of that, that one should be able to accommodate them. So because we are not currently selling that one.
Mr. Judy, just to make life easier for everybody, I mean, it will give you less stress, it will also give us less stress. Can the management just do a little write-up or bulletin or whatever, saying at 6.6, this is what you get. At 6.6 with the additional 2.5 million, this is what you get. Then at the bottom, these are the new things we have in place. So as realtors, we would have pushed that out. Then when you have your Zoom meeting, you won't be going over and over and over again.
Thank you so much, ma. God bless you.
It makes
You're
that
very
so
sweet. You're very sweet woman being.
It's not sweet. I'm getting too much stress. I think you should get a video.
I think the MC has taken note of that already.
My name is Martha. Okay, so you said something about Court C. You said you have 2 bedroom in Court C. 2 bedroom, because my client bought 2 units from Court B, and you said it's, I think majority of it is the masonite also.
No, that's not what it says.
No, what we said was that we still have masonite 2 bedroom and all. The masonite are usually on the top at the top end. So from the first block, from the first floor down to maybe the top floor, we still have the 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom. But for the masonite and the penthouse, they are either maybe at the last end of the development. So we are accommodating them in each of the block. Now for this one, we have them 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have masonite at different stations. So we just have maybe, I don't know what's the design like. How many masonite per block? So you have maybe 2 masonite per block. So we probably will be able to accommodate 10 masonite for the Court C, which I think is which are really estimated.
A client we bought at 10.5.
So what?
A client we bought at 10.5. How much extra would the client need to add to get the finished apartment?
Okay,
for the same 2.5.
It's the same
2.5. Okay.
So what we'll just have is that we're going to have. I think we also did that in the but a fuller detail like what Mrs. Ali suggested is that we're going to have then what is the rate, what is the first option, second option, even down to the third option that we have.
It makes life easy.
Okay.
What a client that bought from Court C and then has finished payment, do we still have support in Court A? For instance, if the client wants to pay the 2.5.
For now, we still left for that particular client, we'll put the client on the waiting list. If there is, but let us first of all deal with the clients that we already that started on time. So we have at least we can accommodate. But we'll still have them on the waiting list in case.
Even if it's not going to get it.
It's still going to be the same because I cannot tell you yes and I cannot tell you no. Do you understand? I cannot tell you yes and
I'll be allocated. That's up to now, nothing has been done.
okay.
I'm not still hearing that.
Okay, sorry.
I should wait till December.
Sorry, I don't know why we have that mix up, but we're going to check back and see if you're meant to be allocated. That means that you are allocated. We're going to be allocated maybe for this particular batch.
No, because I spoke with she told me that I should wait till December.
That's
For this very last one. Yes. No, I understand why I was not invited for the allocation. So I should wait till December.
Should get your details of it. It's because of the expansion and then because of the value. Well, you and I know, just like she said, the whole aim and the goal of Fairfield apartment is already paying one right now. Maybe in the future, people might rake in and agree a return of investment. That's as I'm the one that is going to be speaking. That's what and it's realistic investment that they are taking. So let me say something.
Okay.
So the thing is this, he is insisting because I have tried. I'm not exactly the company's client. I'm my client's agent.
Yeah.
But again, I still understand and I have tried. But Nothing.
So what's the issue that the client
The
has?
issue right now is that he needs the 6.6. What you have said, that is why I wanted to say this. Don't let it be your last resort. You should have a time frame because they have been doing this for 2019, right? So just as this conversation is going on, it should not just be a conversation that should just still linger on. Already this investment is already...
Now where you need to, where you need to take the conversation to should be not just you having that same conversation with the client alone. Let us have that. Let us have that conversation. Let us do all that.
Mr. Chidi, so you can have a good understanding where I'm going to. So now, the idea of what I was going to say is this. As you are planning on delivery, because there was a vague mail that, I don't know who just sent that mail, but it just to cover the fact that you said, because I was flowing to you said that they're not going to be to people that pay 6.6 in December, they're not going to allocate to them. Now this client don't know about that. You're not going to allocate to them, and you don't know how the discussion will further go ahead to let them know that they will not be allocated in December. But a mail was sent to my client that it's going to be allocated in December. And that's a lie. Now, secondly, you should also not keep it as a last resort. I don't know how you're going to do that development, but it should be congruent. It should be the people that are still insisting on their 6.6, because if they come for their refund, I have a client, he's not going to come, you're not going to give him 6.6. It's very, very big. We'll tell you how much you're going to give him to pay as we speak, plus the value of dollar, because it's an investment that you will not get. And if you have put the money somewhere, it's going to be getting some amount of money, right? And it's not something I'm encouraging them to right now. I mean, refund and all of that. While we are doing this at the background, I feel that there should be a timeline, because it's the same time thing that has dragged people, and I'm sure has dragged you into this. Because in construction, when you delay, you hardly get your profits, and then you start bringing issues. Let me tell you something. This is not the first investment. I do realistic investment with my clients. Like I do from the scratch to finishing, and then I build and plus approval, so we know what's up. So I will tell you for real that COVID is not an excuse. A lot of people built and also delivered during COVID. So let's just leave that vaguely as an excuse we should give to this client, right? However, they've already delayed 2 years and counting. Let us get a point at that Fairfield apartment to give those people. Let us give them as that 2021, this December. We should not let this conversation be a thing that, okay, we are still waiting on them, because I've been following it. It's like we are going, there's nothing, conversation, it takes time. Give us a timeline. By the way, what is square meter of this 2-bedroom apartment in the beginning? What's the square meter like? If a 2-bedroom apartment is a 2-bedroom apartment, people can live there. Yes, even in the same place where we have, if I've been in an estate, the same facility, even if I'm going to rent my 2-bedroom apartment for 100.
Once the 6.6 and there are the options for, that's why we said let us get to the point where we will now have that interaction and there's proper clarity. Because once we have set our feet on the ground on that particular one, there will be no going back.
The timeline.
Wait, please calm down.
But you didn't even finish. You didn't even wait for me to finish.
You've been saying, and then the delivery of the Court B, of the Court C, it was actually stated in what in the presentation that was done. Number two, when you also still mentioned, when you just made it, you just said something about us giving the excuse for COVID. I never gave an excuse for coronavirus. I never. Did I? I never gave an excuse for coronavirus. We only just made. You said what?
I said you never did.
I never did give an excuse for coronavirus for being the issue why we have this. There was never at any particular point in time where I made mention of that. You can, the conversation is being recorded, and you can go back again and rewatch it.
No, this coronavirus thing wasn't mentioned here. You had the mail to my client, right?
And we said that it was because of coronavirus.
It was exactly mentioned, because he told me, he said he had a conversation with one of you.
So for the client itself, for the client in question, what we should do is for us to be able to have a proper assessment, and for us to be able to quell whatever issue that the client may have, is for us to have that conversation. If
what I'm saying is that there should be a timeline.
let us have, we can't have that delivery schedule that we just calculate our power audit. I think that 2 months ago, in terms of what kind of power can fit in for the Court A. And we have done that and we have concluded already. So we started external work on it. If you look at some of the, if you go to observe some of the drainage areas and like, you see some pipes already passing. It's already the transformers and all that will be on ground. What we will have on ground as of today, please know this. So we have to speak on what. So what can do is that everybody will just deliver the cut per time, and once we deliver the cut per time, we are good. That one becomes applicable. For the next one, we deliver again, it becomes applicable. Like where we have concluded, what we have the road now as we speak, as where we have done the road to, has gotten maybe a bit stretched beyond cut B, and we have also stretched beyond cut C on the other side. So already we have some of the other facilities already been accommodated. So for this other one, we will have them sorted out. Already the power plants and the site here or the service here are already under construction as we speak now. So between now and December, we should be able to have it everything. Mr.
That we have up to 22 clients that insist on 6.6, and we are able to get that data sorted out. Within the next, maybe we are able to, it's a probability. So let's just say we have that data sorted out at the end of September. How fast can you build there?
So for the 22,
it's a probability.
Yeah.
We need the numbers,
yeah,
and we need we need that information on time. So how fast can you build it? Let's say we have it by the end.
If we have, let's say we have a situation where there's a analysis that there's one that we did.
It will still take the same time as the regular block. That's why looking at between 6 to 9 months.
Between 6 to 9 months.
So 9 months. 6 to 9 months. So no problem.
It might be less, but since you asked for an assumption,
I have it might be less, it can be less, but
this one that is starting, it took 2 years. Let's know. This one that
the same number of the same size for the two-bedroom region. For the two-bedroom. Yes. So if you don't add that for anyone, but I just want to maintain the same size that you take that average between 6 to 9 months now.
My suggestion is following what he said. If truly the 22 people that are needed could be gotten for that block, and okay, fine, even if the 22 people cannot be gotten, I believe that we can still walk around it, and you can introduce a kind of promo. I know developers that do king size 3-bedroom flats, mini size 3-bedroom. So you can just run a promo just to flash over that. But what would you have 10 units of this mini? Of course. Just to complete it.
Of course. That's what people on our part.
So to save following if I may suggest, following therefrom from this thinking, that this business and various suggestions, can we go the extra mile in trying to, I'm also repeating what I said, to try and get that survey done, so that we can be able to answer.
So that's why
we can be able to answer this on time.
That's why
I know the numbers we have.
That's why if, for example, that's why
I know it's going to be an ongoing conversation. I know.
No, even for this specific one. If we have a situation whereby we have that number outside, it's easier for everyone. I think it's easier for us too. Because what will have meant is that we'll have been able to achieve and be able to carry a lot of things along. But so what we just need to now do is that for those of us who still have that, who still need to have that conversation with our clients.
Can we have one house, please? Can we have one house, please?
That conversation, so that at the end of the day, everybody, the company understands, the director understands, and the client already clearly understand. So it will not be at any particular point in time that okay, there's no, I didn't know about it, I didn't hear that, so that there's clarity for all of the parties involved. And that's why we said, at that particular stage, let us now get started.
Can you take the opportunity to ask if we can all just assist by trying to begin to get a preliminary answer from our clients and also communicate same to the company to make it faster.
Okay, so
Because the major thing is this: if we don't make it fast enough, we could still have this issue of not having concluded, talking and having those conversations.
That's the way to make it faster. The way to make it faster is me as a realtor now having that engagement between what you have said. The way to make it faster is that engagement between the realtor, the client, and the company. That's why it makes it a bit faster.
sorry, I would like to add to that. Remember when I started, I mentioned that we've had at least 2 different conversations with clients. The first one where it was just, we'll assume that okay, they didn't understand. Now the second one, we had actual Zoom meetings with all of the clients, and then so that everyone is on the same page. Now some clients will still, they might tell you something else and come back and tell us something else. So that's one of the reasons why I asked them to check the details of the lady's clients, because the feedback we have from here is a bit different, but then that's on one end. Now the conversation, the reason why we want to be included in the conversation is because sometimes some of these clients might not understand and you might not be able to really explain it to them. So we decided not even phone calls, we're going to have Zoom calls. For the ones who, we've had clients who have also said, don't bother, I'm coming into the office, and we have those meetings. It's all for us to understand and we're all on the same page. I've been asking the team that as at today, how many people do we have that say, oh, they don't want. Now some of the clients will say, please give me my apartment at this point, just give me like that. But when we now schedule a Zoom call, the clients would end up saying, okay, you know what, Middlechase, I'm going to give you 500,000, go and look for the balance somewhere else, or let's split the bill, or I still want. So for those of us here who feel like you have your client's authority to say, I'm going to stick to the 6.6, not a problem. I'd like to take those names down. We'll send an email so your clients can sign to it that I'm okay with this. Once we get a number, because like you said, you want us to quickly get the numbers. Once we get the numbers and then everyone signs to it and that they are fine, then we're good to go. It's not as, but we know that at the end of the day, it will not just be a case of, oh, let's just, because the reason why we have work being done on multiple blocks at the same time is just so we can speed up. And then everyone is sorted out almost at the same time. Then the backlogs, so that we don't have backlogs to deal with. But when we keep having, so for some of us, our clients have seen those emails, but we've not told our clients that please respond to Middlechase. Because the client is waiting for you to say, should I answer them or should I not answer them? So for those of us, if we want to get involved, I would really advise that we speak to our clients and say, okay, I would like you to give Middlechase, speak to Middlechase and tell them what you want. Let's have a Zoom call and then we close out. Are we fine? I put them in batches. We have the batch 1 and then the batch 2 clients. Now the batch 1 are those people who bought at the rate of 3.5 million when we started selling Eastland. Now there's Now we have those set of clients. I think on the WhatsApp group I had put a presentation of the outstandings that we have, similar to what I had done for Fairfield. Now we have that. Now the end points to those particular people, we have different options for them. One is for them to either pay up, or 2, we divest their investments and then they come back for whatever money they paid. Now those information on that communication has already started. This is because this transaction has dragged for close to 2 years and both parties are we're not winning. So it was time for us to continue to move on. Now for the second set of clients, that those who are buying at this point in time, we have allocation in batches, and I think we keep saying that allocation is in batches. What's the process to allocation? Number 1, there's a survey that's to be filled. Now we have various clients who are buying for various reasons. Now, some clients are buying because they just want to hold. Some clients are buying because they want to build almost immediately. Some clients are buying because in the next maybe 12, 18, 24 months, they want to start building. Now, because we do not want an investment where everything is just left as fallow and bushy as whatever, we decided that when you want to be allocated, we'll send you a survey. There's an email you will get. Please fill out the survey and let us know what your plans are. Not because we want to tie your hands, but because we want to know what are your plans. What would you like to do? What would you like to build? It helps us for zoning of the entire state. For Eastland, we have zones. Those who want to build apartments, those who want to build terraces, those who want to build fully detached or semi-detached. There are zones. Now, we will not, because we don't want a case where in the future, when people start building, you have 1 2-story building here and then a bungalow in the middle and then you have another high-rise. We don't want it to be that way. And then even for approval's sake as well. Now, this communication has been ongoing for quite a while. I'm just going to assume that, okay, we are just hearing about it for the first time, but I know that most of our clients are aware. Once we get to, for Eastland Golf, we had an allocation period of 12 months. Now, once we get to that point, for some people who are able to speed up payments before then, we try our best to bump them forward as much as possible. But from the start, we had said Eastland Golf allocation was to span for 12 months. Now, I know that some of us have questions, and I'd like to take those questions so that we can. Sorry? Don't worry, I'm ready to know.
That's not okay for my client. I've actually paid full outright. So when is the next time he's ready to pay now?
He's ready to pay, yes. Has he filled out this? When did you finish paying? April. What I would do is, there's a lady at the back. You can give her the name of your client so that then she can check. And I would like to also address that. The same way I explained for Eastland, so for Fairfield, it's almost the same thing. Now, the allocation process, as much as we have set rules, sometimes it can be flexible. But number one is you paid up on time. What time you started your transaction really doesn't have much bearing on when you should be allocated. Now, for some people, your time, like I said, the allocation period for Fairfield is 12 months. But we've been having allocation in batches, and some people, that was why we started the divide of regular and premium plots. Now, the premium plots are the people who say, I'm ready to start almost immediately. And those people have been allocated to. The ones who have finished paying, they've been allocated to. Now, for the people who bought into the regular plots, those are people who have a period of 12 months to make your payments and then get your allocation. If your client finishes his payments or her payments before that time, it's okay to have that conversation with us and see how we can bump the person forward. But if we have our slot full at that point in time, if it was a land that we could just go and then just point our hand and say, oh, take that, we still need to do some groundwork at the end of the day. So your client has 12 months, but he finished his payment in 6 months, no problem. Have that conversation with us, and then if the slot at that point in time is not full, then we can consider bumping the person forward. But if that slot is full, we would have to move the person to the next batch. As of now, we don't have a date for the next one, but we're considering, sorry madam, but we're looking at between November for the next batch.
Let them meet
after.
I have a client who already paid, she's waiting also. She finished paying in June.
That's why I said, for those of us who have had, like as I said, it's 12 months. But if you want us to bump the person forward, we can now have that conversation and then check the slots that we have, because we already have a list as of today for the next batch of allocation. Now we have certain, we'll decide that, okay, for this batch of allocation, we're going to release X, Y, Z number of plots. But those who bought premium plots, those of them who have completed payments, they've all been allocated to. If your client bought into the premium plots, they should let us know.
You will not be told August. I will allocated.
You mentioned, has it been sent to? Because recently, my client paid in March, and
She finished.
yes, outright. And she has been asking, in fact, that period, like we were told from the office that it's going to be in August. Right? So this survey you're mentioning now, has it been communicated to the client? Because she's not aware, I'm not aware. And she's like ready to start something on it.
Well, it goes back to what I said. For the clients who bought into Eastland, it is a 12-month allocation, 12-month payment plan, 12-month allocation period. But for those people who are able to pay up either outright or before then, we bump them forward. So that's why you need to have that conversation with us, and we will take it from there. So that's why I said there's a lady at the back. just once you have that allocation, so there's a list we have now of people that we're supposed to allocate. We were meant to have an allocation actually in August, September, but we had to opt forward. Yes.
It's the same thing.
It's still so, but going forward, we want to try to work on that. So most of us, we have our details, but it would be good if you can check in with the team that your email address or your phone number is correct, and maybe that of your client as well. Because I know that some clients, because most times when a client says, I've not gotten an information from Middlechase, we're able to go back and do a screenshot and show that, okay, indeed we've sent you an email, probably either went spam or you probably didn't see it or whatever. But going forward, we want to ensure that everyone is in the loop. So when we have Zoom calls or emails being sent out, we'll try to ensure that as much as possible we would copy the realtors who are involved. Okay, so I don't know.
Some of the clients, like my own client, is having a challenge because where his plot is actually kind of isolated. And to actually sandfill is going to cost him a lot because whatever he's sandfilling is going to spill to the left, to the right, to the west, and it's going to cost him more money. So I was suggesting that is it possible for Middlechase to like people that have been allocated already and like have a kind of meeting with them, let them mediate that, oh, this person is ready to sandfill or this person is ready to do his or her raft. Are you ready to do yours? So that he doesn't end up doing all sides.
Close the door.
So that he doesn't end up spending money doing all the 4 sides of his plot. Maybe, oh, Mr. A, this person is ready. Do you want to do this? So that at least he can onboarding the client. So that maybe he's doing this side, the other client is doing this side of